Slackers! Haven't seen you guys in a while and I'm extraordinarily tired. Let me know how the sound, audio, how everything sounds. What's going on? Looks like we're about to have a rainstorm here, and lately we've been losing power and all sorts of stuff, so. How are you guys doing? What's going on? What ASRock board is that? I'll show you in a little bit. Let's get everybody in, talking, hanging out, and let me know how everything's going. I hope you'll like my little green theme today, and that's in pretty much part by my renewed love for some PC tech gear. And if you've been under a rock and you haven't noticed, basically, NVIDIA came out with some major goodness. And I figured, might as well show some love with some greenage. We gotta love the greenage. So what's going on, Slackers? Are you guys excited about new GPUs? I don't know, I don't go in enough about how much I like graphic cards. Graphic cards are pretty much what, I don't know, I kind of say that I love them more than CPUs, but I don't know, I guess we won't go into that. Man, guess what? We're moving back to San Diego. I hear it's hot over in California. I know it's hot here, we got the humidity here, but man, was he drunk today? I don't drink anymore. I need a leather jacket. What is that supposed to mean, random guy? Anyways. But yeah, I am super stoked about the new NVIDIA release. And what I've heard, little birdie told me, by the name of Vince Lucido. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but Mr. Kingpin himself. I know he's pre-testing, getting ready for the new cards to come. Super excited about it. If you don't know who Vince is, his name is Kingpin. He makes paste, my favorite paste. So if you check out the links below. Now let's go into a little bit of discussion about the links. So Newegg is an awesome sponsor of the stream. So we got to give them a big heads up. Make sure you like and subscribe. But also, make sure you check out my links. I got links if you want to buy a PC and you're looking for, I could say, some assistance or, I don't know, you need some advice on parts. I put up a bunch of links in the description. We have a plus $2,000 build. We have it for AMD and Intel, so that way we're not hating on anybody. Because, let's get to reality, basically both make great systems. You can say one's better than the other, but each one has their particular pros and particular cons. So, but anyways, so yeah, make sure you check out the links. They help directly support the channel, makes me be able to do the stream pretty much more and more and more and more. So since we missed a lot of streams this weekend, yep, I know, I've been slacking all weekend. It's what happens when you have a 2-month-old, and especially you got his shots on Friday. Trust me, if I knew it, I wouldn't have planned so much, but the shots killed the little dude. We've been hanging out with him, and oh no, he's doing well, so he's nothing wrong with him. I don't want to get anybody worried or anything like that, but yeah, but it's awesome. Tiring, no. Lots of no sleep, I guess you could say. I don't know if that even works, but hey, whatever. But yeah, just trying to catch up on sleep. It's just not even working. 4 hours of sleep again last night, so. But yeah, so check out the links if you're looking to buy. We got a bunch of different ones. We got a plus $2,000 NVIDIA and AMD build, or not NVIDIA, Intel or AMD build. One recommendation though, is all the GPUs that I have in there, you probably want to take out of the cart. Because right now, there's like a revolution of GPUs coming from NVIDIA that's going to pretty much make everything else obsolete. So you want to make sure that you think about it before you buy a GPU, because you gotta figure right now what a 2080 Ti is like $1,400. Don't spend $1,400 on a 2080 Ti, especially when something's coming out pretty much in several weeks. So you want to make sure you're thinking about what you should buy and don't waste money. So that's my help to you. So check out the links. Check out a bunch of parts that I support. Yeah, I don't know. I need a break. But anyway, lost audio. You guys still sound audio, right? And make sure you, there's a little thing, and sometimes YouTube gets a little sketched out. Yep, I just downed YouTube. Probably gonna get demonetized now. Oh, it looks like I have to fix the links. This is what happens when you gotta create a bunch of links and stuff. Still getting used to it, so it looks like the AMD and maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to tell you something. Maybe if you're an Intel guy, you should buy AMD. If you're an AMD guy, maybe you should try Intel for once. Oh, but yeah. Either way, you'll be able to get to the same spot. And if you buy anything underneath that, it helps me out. So the more and more you guys buy in, the more and more you like and subscribe, the more and more we can do this. So it looks like we're going to be doing this a lot more often. I'm just going to tell you guys right now is that the next stream is going to be Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm going to be doing these probably anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week. So if you don't get to catch this one, check out the next one. We're going to be doing these a lot. What's going on, slackers? Looks like audio is good and it's just you. But anyway, so what else is new? What's going on? Yeah, the problem with the monitor, it's so big and I got so much on the screen. Come on, you just want me to talk to you guys? Anyways, so let's get into the gist of it. So, most guys out there, if you look at any video guy and you talk to them and you ask them, what are you guys doing for your editing machine? And it's funny too, I get the biggest, I crack up a lot because they'll be like, yeah, I got a Mac Pro. Why? Why waste your money? Macs are cool and all, laptops are alright, but if you want to really get something badass, you want to make sure you get a desktop. And with all the parts and cheap parts right now, you can get so much for editing. And you guys are gonna end up seeing my machine, and my machine's gonna be like craziness, lots of money into that. But you might say that's not worth it. But for maybe you, it's not worth it. For me, it is, because my time is valuable. All the time that I spend messing with that, editing, all that stuff, how am I gonna get you guys any content? Because you guys always complain about me not doing enough content. So I figured if I just load up an editing box, make it as big as possible, make it fast as possible, we can get you some more content. So, yeah. No Mac Pro here. If you want a Mac Pro, go look at somebody else's channel, because this is what we're going to do. We're going to end up building our own Mac Pro killer, I guess. To be honest, the Mac's like here, and our machine's going to be like way up here, so I don't know. But anyway, let's just kind of, I guess we just roll into it, because so you guys know, this is going to be like an ever-changing setup. I've already found out, like, every time I seem to put something together in it, I feel like I go like 1 step forward and then like 5 steps back. So let's just get to the point a little bit and go right into it, and you'll see. It's pretty awesome. And I see less likes than there should be right now. So if you're not liking, you're not liking. So make sure you like and subscribe. So anyway, let's get into a little what's going on with the editing PC, because everybody's asking me what is this? What machine is this? So let's just show it, alright? Alright? Alright. Now we have to be a little careful, because I kind of have it in pieces right now. Oh, look at that prettiness. Now, one of my biggest things is, I don't like cases in general. If you followed me for a long time, and kind of know all my liquid nitrogen stuff that I do, you'll pretty much never see me with a desktop PC. So, my version of a PC is open. Like, you gotta be able to, see? Nothing closed. We like openness. I like to see the parts. I'm sorry, I like cards that are naked. It's awesome. I love seeing any, basically, resistors, all that stuff. You know, I think all computers should show it off. Why hide it? Show to love. You know what I mean? So, I guess let's just get into the case. So, the case was sponsored by V1 Tech. If you ever want to check out, they make some really cool backplates, RGB backplates. They make a bunch of cool stuff that's very useful for any type of modder and builder. They even allow you to design a custom backplate for any of the GPUs you want. You go over, Make sure you use Slacker or code Slacker and you get 20% off. They were nice enough. They actually donated 2 cases. One of them got damaged in shipping. This is actually the damaged one. I have another one that's basically mint, so this is kind of the one that's basically going to be, I don't know what you want to call it, the guinea pig? Because I've already drilled some holes in it. I've already basically cut it up. I mean, it's such a beautiful, like, I don't know. I just love this case. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they make them anymore, which kind of sucks for everybody else, except for me, but yeah, it's called the Dopamine case. Apparently, V1 Tech actually bought the system off of, and kind of redesigned it. You'll see it's kind of flimsy right now, and that's the reason. It's because I took out these plates. So they actually go on the side right here, and they're a big, I don't know, structural. Because this thing is kind of weak without it. There's a lot of heavy parts in there. Come on, you got 32 cores of goodness there for Threadripper. So you'll see a couple different things. The Tai Chi is hiding those under a slab of aluminum. So the first things first, we'll go over to setup. We're using basically EK. So one of the main issues with this is not going to be the final setup. I'm waiting for parts, which I feel like is pretty much all I do anymore. Anytime I try to get any parts, it takes forever to get anything. So what we're doing is, I'm still waiting on parts, but I figured we'd take one of my water cooling kits. And we'll steal some parts from other projects I have going on. And basically get something going so that way we can do a lot more editing. Because right now, if I were to show you my machine that's running all this, you would look at me and laugh. Be like, you are TechODIN and you're using this? Yeah. So we need to be able to get this thing rolling. So let's go over some of the specs first. I have a lot planned for this. Right now, we're basically, you'll see right here, this area right here is set up for 2 360 rads. So we're going to do a 360 here and do a 360 on the other side. You can see that we have an EK, Coolstream SE. So SE, they have SE and they have PE. Now, remember, these links are below, so if you want to look at and get the same stuff, make sure you look in the description. Description is how you support the channel, other than like and subscribe. If you didn't like, make sure you subscribe. So yeah, we got EK Vardar, RGB fans, some badass fans here. Let's see, we also have the EK 240. What's it called? Pump and res. This comes with a D5 pump in the back. I basically just drilled holes and put that thing there. I think it kind of looks perfect. What do you guys think? How do you guys like it? Yeah. So the problem is we don't have all the fittings we need. So EK needs to send me some fittings. We don't have the 360 rads. I have a PE rad, which is the thick version of the rad, but I'm going to have to do a bunch of cutting, so it's going to be too thick for this application. So I need actually 2 SE rads. So we're going to be waiting for those. So we're going to do some stuff without. So what I was thinking about doing, we have about 6 fittings. I don't want to use other fittings. I feel like as soon as you start introducing a couple different, like, I don't know, my OCD would go through the roof. Needs to be pretty, needs to be prettified, needs to be as pretty as the beard, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah. So the cooling is going to be quite crazy. Not only are we going to do the 480, the 360, and the 360 over here, the back side is going to have 2 560s. So, and then they're going to be all EK Vardar fans. So this build is going to be a monster. So I figured, since I've been waiting on these rads because I have to cut before I can actually, I was originally going to go with the Xeon. So if you guys haven't seen this board here, I'll just go get it. This is the original board that I had planned for this. This thing is a beast. Beast. This is like a $2,000 board. But the thing is I have to cut. I'll basically have to rip this thing apart and cut it up. So I figure, instead of waiting on this, I can use the temporary one here. This is because this one was damaged in shipping. It's all bent up, has some scratches, stuff like that. that I could figure out I need to get something done now. So I figured, why not throw the TRX 40 in with the 32 core? I mean, this is the Xeon 28 core. But I figured that would work nicely in the meantime. Until I found an issue. And I'll go on into that issue in a little bit in a second. Hold on. Let me put this back before I drop it on my toe or something. Need a sip. Oh, Stig, I'm always here watching you. Love your stream, Slacker. Thanks, Slacker, for supporting the channel. Big shout out to Jim, too, for donating. Getting some caffeine, because you know I had Red Bull before this. Figured I'd hydrate a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. Really tiny I/O ports? Well, that's the funny thing about the Xeon board, right? Most people complain about the I/O ports, but with all those PCIe slots, who cares? You can get a card for everything. That's pretty much the key to that. That's pretty much the point of that board, is that you pretty much have unlimited PCIe. It's not unlimited, but to be honest, I'll show you why that's important right now. Because if you guys haven't looked in, or if you guys were wondering exactly what this is, so this is an Elgato. I swear, I just changed regions in like 2.3 seconds. No, so let's get to the point. So this is actually an Elgato 4K 60 Pro taken out. So if you're looking at the stream now, you'll see right here, streaming is basically using one of these cards. Now, I actually have 3 of these cards. But one of my biggest issues, I don't know, can you see a problem that I'm having right now if I have 3 of these? To be honest, I can't even run, or I would at least be able to run 2 of these. Do you guys see an issue that I might have with this setup? Well, I might just make sure you like and comment below and what you guys think. Why do I have an issue with these cards? I gave you enough time, so let's get into it. So if you notice this one thing about here, I was so excited to use this ASRock board. Now this is the ASRock TRX 40. This is the Tai Chi board. Now what I really like about this board, I actually bought this board for overclocking. I wanted to try it versus the MSI Creator, which is basically the one that I used to do. So I basically was like, oh, this is a great board. If you look at the VRM, it's got a lot of phases. Like it's pretty much set up to be a really good overclocking board. And a lot of overclocking guys in the industry now are using it to break a bunch of records and stuff. So I was like, I might as well get that board and test it out. But obviously I had to do, it's just been a crazy year, so it just sat up on, basically up there. You can see the box. And I went to take it down. I was like, you know what, this is good. This would be perfect for the ultimate editing desktop. Well, it was perfect until I basically set it up and looked at it again. Have you guys, yeah, the case flex it really doesn't flex this much. It's when you have the pieces on the side pieces here. But when you put the side pieces on, it's kind of hard to work around. So, like, when you put the braces here, this thing's like a rock. You can't move it. Yeah, you gotta be careful with because I actually, like, hit it yesterday and I, like, almost fell over. But anyway, so let's get to the point. So, I was looking at ASRock's board, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I need to have a RAID card. So if you guys haven't watched previous streams, I basically lost an NVMe drive with a lot of footage that I wanted to use for editing. And that was pretty much a momentum killer. It basically kind of put me in a little depression about it. I wanted to get you guys good content, but I have no storage space, and all the footage that I've created to try to create a bunch of videos is gone, which really sucks. So what I ended up doing is going with the High Point bootable RAID card. I've always done RAID cards for years. Basically, if you wanted a hard drive, you want to do a really good RAID 5 or RAID 0 or anything, you always wanted to have some type of hardware card, not using like the onboard RAID controller or the Intel ones like that. So I ended up picking that up, and basically it runs X16. It basically uses bifurcation. Or is it bifurcation? For some reason that doesn't sound great. Basically what it does is that it's an X16 slot, and it can use 4X per X16. Now, this gets you around a bunch of limitations, like say on Xeon, for instance, or on X299, where you had bifurcation support issues. And it really goes down to the motherboard manufacturer, whether they support it or not. But to try to get around a lot of those issues is basically you can get a RAID card, and you're supposed to be able to go down and not have any issues. So, yeah, I figured, okay, that's great. I'm going to have my RAID card in here. And then I'm like, okay, I was like, oh, what is Threadripper? How many PCIe? How much PCIe can you get out of Threadripper? So I'm looking over at Threadripper. And the funniest part is I'm like, man, you got 64 lanes, which is massive. If you look on the Intel scale, when you have like a 10900K or a 9900K, you're looking at it, it's like X16. What am I going to do with that? I couldn't even run that RAID card in it. So I put that puppy in here. I'm like, okay, if I have 16, then I'm good, right? I'm good. No, I'm not good. Because if you look here, there's 3 X16 slots. So one's going to be for GPU, which is not in there right now. One's going to be for the actual high point card, right? So that's 2 slots. Now I only have 1 X16 slot. Remember, I wanted to use a bunch of cards, right? Well, I figured, you know what? I could take one of those X16 slots, but I wanted to run 2 of these. Well, ASRock and their infinite wisdom, this is one of my gripes with motherboard manufacturers, because they take a motherboard like this, which is awesome for overclocking, and they totally gimp it. Basically, you'll see right here, this black port, it's a one lane. What the hell am I going to use a 1 lane for? And so not only are you taking 64 lanes, and you're gimping it, you're basically only, what, you have 16, that's 48 lanes. You only can use 49 lanes on this. What is the point? It's kind of useless. So, it kind of disappoints me, and the funny part is I went to look over and, okay, what is ASRock actually offering as far as TRX 40 boards? So, you have this one, which is the Tai Chi, which is a great board. The VRM on this thing is stellar. That's why I bought it. I wanted to overclock it, not thinking about the PCIe. So I look at the creator, and guess what? It magically has 4 X16 slots. Why? Why would you put a 1X slot? You completely gimped the board. Why? Makes no sense. So basically what it comes down to is I can only use stream or use 1 capture card. I need to be able to use at least 2 to 3 capture cards. So basically that's where we go back to the Xeon again. The Xeon has 7 PCIe slots at X16. They might not be Gen 4, but they at least they're Gen 3, and I can actually put the slots in here. So for all those slots, that's where it makes sense. And it's very disappointing to see motherboard manufacturers not, I don't know, really I just feel like this board would have been amazing. But that one part is where they killed it. Like, and the funny part is if you look at the creator is not as beefy on the VRM side. So that means it's not going to necessarily be great with voltage handling. It will get the job done, but the whole point is you're buying a 32-core Threadripper, $2,100, to basically play with it. Like, you're spending a lot of money to try to get a little bit more out of it. I would definitely recommend overclocking these chips. They like it. They handle it very well. What's nice about the TRX 40 platform is the quad-channel memory. Quad-channel memory runs awesome. It's the opposite when it comes to the X570 platform. Basically, where you only get up to a certain amount of memory where it's useful. This thing basically keeps scaling up when you're doing memory clocking. So the TRX 40 platform is an amazing platform. It's one of my, probably, I would say it's probably my favorite platform. But except when they do stupid stuff like this, where they give you 1 lane when, who knows. But anyways, but yeah, the 1X is just absolutely, like, this is my rant for the past day or two. I feel like every time I take apart something or this is where I go 1 step forward, 3 steps back. So that's one of my issues now. So now, when we build this, I'll only be able to use 1 capture card. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Well, can you split up that X16 slot? So it led me to one of the things is you can likely get some type of splitter, but we're going to end up having to make something custom for it. We're going to end up having to do something, and I'm not sure what we're going to do, technically. So we can try to find some type of riser, and by riser I'll show you. I have one sitting over here. We're going to have to find something similar to this. Now this is just a riser, just one, but I'm not sure if anybody actually makes one that might divide this in two, because it would be kind of cool to have the X16 slot go this way, and then have maybe like 2 or 3 naked Elgatos off of it. I don't know, this is a custom PC, so we can make it happen, but the problem is actually trying to find one of these. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. Maybe we'll just, maybe we'll make something, which is very possible to do. I'm pretty sure that the motherboard should, on AMD side, should support Bifer. I'll just call it Bifer because I'm probably butchering at it. He got so mad he got a haircut. Yes, I got a haircut. What's your deal? So yeah, we might try to split it up and try to get a couple of Elgatos out of it, but I don't know. The Xeon at this part looks like the easier way to do it. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that, but I think in the meantime we're still gonna build this. Maybe put it, get the water cooling going, so that way maybe we can do installs and go on, and we'll just have fun with it. Cause to be honest, just looking at it, man, it's pretty damn beautiful. So the rest of the specs, and we'll get off my rant of ASRock right now. Why they actually pretty much gimped this board. It's funny because I know a couple people at ASRock. I used to be sponsored by them. Yeah, I sent a message to her. I was like, why are you going to gimp this board? And obviously I haven't heard anything back, which would love to hear that, by the way. Because, like I said on the Creator VRM is not as beefy as this. And overall, I feel like they kind of ruined this board. Not saying that I don't recommend this board, but if you're going to have to use all those PCIe lanes, this board is pretty much useless at that point. So enough with that rant. I bet you're wondering what kind of memory we're going. As you can see, I got a pair of gold, and we got the silver G.Skill Trident Z Royals, which is one of my favorite memory modules. Now, these are both 4K bins. So what I mean by that is if you ever look at XMP and they basically tell you what, if you got the 4K ones, you got the 4600s, 4800s, they come up with new ones all the time. So these are all 4K bin. 4K bin's a sweet, is a really good bin for these because 4K is TRX, unlike the X570 platform where pretty much above 3800, 4K is really not beneficial. It basically, you actually see a dive in performance because of IF, or the Infinity Fabric. On the TRX 40, you don't have that limitation, so you can actually push quad channel memory up quite a bit. So, if you're looking for a good kit, I highly recommend going with a higher overclock kit. But remember, if you're going to buy dual kits versus quad kits, dual kits are going to probably be a higher megahertz. Don't expect the same thing for quad channel. It doesn't really work that way. When you buy a quad channel memory, that means it's supported for quad channel. Most of the time when they do the certification for dual channel ones, it's on a dual channel system. So something like X570 versus TRX 40. So, oh, Kevin on here brings up a great point. Super Micro makes bifurcate. We're just gonna call it Bi-Fi. I don't know, kind of like that. Bi-Fi cards, but the problem is that they're oriented. Super Micro is a huge server manufacturer, so the problem is they usually use like one-use servers, and I think the last cards that I've seen from there, I don't know. You guys look and check out. Send me some links. Basically, comment below. What would you do? Would you go and try to find a PCI extender card? The ones that I have seen from Super Micro, they actually point this way, so it would block anything here. I know we could probably get like a cable that comes off here and then do something with it also after that, but I don't know. Send me some links, dude. Check some research, because right now it looks like the Xeon's the better candidate, and I don't feel like buying another TRX 40 board. I probably will, but who knows. we'll see what comes from this. I just really love the VRM on this board, and I just feel like they just ruined the board. They should have made it so much better. But still, if you're gonna buy it, I highly recommend it for overclocking though. Memory support and the VRM, like I said, stellar. So I figure since we're using such a nice motherboard, overclocking motherboard with the 32 core, we might as well use an overclocking, use a CPU block that can handle it. So this is the Optimus PC Threadripper block. Now this thing is a little bit different than what you see. It's pretty much still in pre-order. You can go on their site right now and you basically go over there and you'll see, and if you want one, I highly recommend it. They're really badass. This is a special edition. This is actually like a lapped edition. This is the flat edition. So, and it's all copper. So basically what it is if you're new to the channel, I sand down chips all the time. It's just what I do. I basically sand it down, and we basically want to build a really good surface between the block and the chip. What that does is it gives you better heat transfer. So if you know who Gamers Nexus is, when we did their stream with the 32 core Threadripper and we sanded it down, the chip that's in here, I figured it was the perfect because number one, it's a flat block, flat CPU. I don't know. I expect good things from the overclocking on this, especially when we start building out the water cooling for it. So, one of the bigger ones, because going from 2 terabyte to 4 terabyte is really expensive. The price just makes it not worth it. So, instead of going for bigger ones, what I did is I decided to get 4 of these, and what I'll do is I'll do a RAID 1 0. So, now that can mean a bunch of different things. Over the years, some have done RAID 1 plus 0, they would call it RAID 10. There's a bunch of different sayings on it. But yeah, so yeah, I got a bunch of these. So we're gonna end up running a RAID 10. What that means is you're gonna have one drive here, one drive here, one drive here, and one drive here. Now these are gonna be in a RAID 1. So what that means is it's gonna take everything from here and mirror it over to here. And this is also gonna do the same. Where you see RAID 1 0, so you have the ones, they're basically you have 2 ones, and now it's gonna stripe in between. So you're actually getting a lot of databases, like if you get into like really huge database performance, this is like one of the killer things to do, because it's pretty much it's so damn fast. It's gonna be hauling ass, and basically getting a lot of performance, but you're also, if you lose one of these drives, you're gonna be fine. So after losing that drive, man, it really killed my video stuff, doing anything. So I needed to change that, and we're not gonna have that same issue anymore. We're also gonna add probably a couple terabyte regular spindle drives. Just because you have this doesn't mean that nothing can happen. You always wanna archive or back up software. These are mainly gonna be for like scratch disk. So what I'm working at during the day or working over a couple of weeks. So it's not going to be necessary. If I lose it, it's not going to be so bad, but I just need some type of fault tolerance, because when I lost that drive, it was really a momentum killer. So, yeah, the stripe is for speed, parity is for redundancy. I was kind of disappointed because it really was not easy to figure out like the RAID support. I really wanted some type of like RAID plus 5, and they don't support that, unfortunately. Usually with like SSD drives, or it's just a regular normal hard drives, you used to be able to do like RAID 5, RAID 10, RAID 3, RAID 1. I forget all the different ones. You can look them up. A simple Google works pretty well. But I highly recommend, if you're into it, definitely look forward to it, because it really can save your day. Usually these type of things, when something goes bad, it's usually during the worst time ever. So you want to make sure that you want to give yourself some type of fault tolerance, because it really does suck when it happens. And it's just worth it. So yeah, the hard disk space. I just wish I had my PCIe lanes on here, because I'm only going to be able to do 1 card. It's really kind of killing my momentum on this. So, but I figure what we'll do is we'll end up just setting up the water cooling like this. So we have the 480 rad. We got the pump reservoir combo. These are awesome, by the way. If you saw the one build we were doing for my buddy's box. I think I used the 360 one to block off a case. I mean, it fits just perfect. They're so nice to use. They give you brackets on the back of them. Remember, they're in the description below, so check them out. Very cool to use. My one issue is I probably am going to have to take it apart. As you guys know, I pretty much take apart everything. I highly recommend you take apart everything in your water cooling to make sure that it's clean before you start putting it together. What is this? We'll take some questions real quick before we get into that tangent. So, RAID 10, you don't lose data. The whole point is if you lose a drive, you don't lose data. So what it's doing is basically, I think if you lose one drive, you're good. I forget about if it's two, but I think if you lose one here and one here, you're good. But if you lose two drives here, then you're not good. Either way, you're getting way more fault tolerance than just having one drive. And to be honest, when that happens, it's not a good day. I'm telling you, it always happens at the worst time. Oh, okay, we'll take some questions. Yeah, not having RAID 5 even on HEDT sucks. High performance desktop, it's true. Oh, whew. I need a drink, it's getting hot in here. I have that effect. Oh, what's going on, guys? So, yeah, so this is the 480 PE or SE, so it's basically the Slim Edition. You have the Performance Edition, which is twice the size. I went with the SE because, not for this board, but for the other Xeon, when I mod this, the Xeon board's pretty much going to come down into here. If I had the PE Edition, this rad's going to be up here, and then it's just not going to look as good. So I went with the SE Edition here. Now, with thick rads, usually if you're going to do a thin rad, you can get away with just like a pull setup. Pull setup works really well. Since this is open, it's going to work real nice. It doesn't need a push-pull. Now, if you're going to get anything thicker than this, then I highly recommend switching from a pull setup to a push-pull setup. Now, this is going to be more silent because it's going to be less fans. But if you want to go for the ultimate performance, then you want to do a push-pull setup. Now, since we have so many rads that are going into this, we're going to have the 360 SEs on the side. It's just going to be pulls. I haven't decided if I wanted to put the fans on the outside, because if you look at the piece, this is the standard piece that comes, right? So what you do is you put the rad on here, you bolt the rad to here, you bolt the fans. I haven't decided if I want the fans to look on this way or if you see the fans from this way. So still deciding on that, not totally sure what to do. I almost thought about maybe doing 360 PEs, but when I took one out of the water cooling package I had out here, they're really thick. And I already have to do a lot of cutting in here, and it's not going to fit with a push-pull setup. So I'm still running through on how I want to do that, but we'll see. So this is the brace that as soon as you bolt these braces down, this thing's like a rock and doesn't move. But right now it's kind of sketchy, huh? All right. Says if one drive fails, you lose the whole RAID setup. No, that's not true. If your one drive fails, you don't lose the whole. That's why you have a RAID 1 and 0. So it's striping between the two. So if you lose one here, this is mirrored. So this is an exact copy of this. If you lose this one, you still got this one and this one. It's striping between these two. So it's actually really much better fault tolerance. It's just more expensive because you got to use 4 drives and you only get 4 gig. Pulling air through the rads makes less noise. That is true. That's what I was basically talking about. Push and pull is when you have basically one fan going pulling, and then you have one fan on this side pushing. So it's just basically when you have a fan, they're oriented a certain way, meaning they go one this way or they go the opposite direction, right? So let's see. Bearded Hardware, is Vince gonna get you a 3090? Little Birdie told me yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. I want to see how good. I don't know. I hear he's supposed to release a bunch of teaser shots. So make sure you guys check out EVGA site and see what goodness they have over there. And also make sure you check out Newegg, because Newegg has a lot of this stuff now instead of waiting for stuff. Check out the links below. Make sure you support the stream. What's going on, Slackers? It's nice to see everybody here. Once again, sorry for missing out most of the streams this week. When you have a 2-month-old, man, your schedule changes rather quickly, if you know what I'm saying. All right, let's see. So let's go. I don't know. Let's see. Where are we going to go from here? So we have about an hour left. Like I said before, make sure you check out the links below, because they're quite a pain for me to do, actually. Whoa, that one got a little sketchy, huh? But I think what we're going to do is explain some basics of water cooling and what we're going to do on here. I need to get an editing box up. It's kind of driving me nuts right now that I have to use this same machine for everything, and it's really, the storage on it is not the greatest. And it kind of kills me that basically I have a RAID card, an awesome card here with basically all these PCIe drives, and I can't even use them because if I, on a Z490 board, or Z390 board, I can't basically use the card. So, it's crazy. What's up, DePoets? Hell of a slacking setup, bro. Thanks for the $5. Make sure you check out his channel, DePoets. Nice guy. We met up at CES. Good dude. Make sure you like and subscribe and check him out as well. What is reasonable price for a used 2.83 gig kit? To be honest, I'm not so sure. Check on the links below. It really depends on the size. 2x8 is obviously going to be less expensive. I know the bigger, so basically memory sticks are sold in different ones. Just because they look the same doesn't mean they're the same. A lot of the times they're either single-sided or double-sided. I recommend now, if it's not even for overclocking, to go with the 16 gig sticks. So if you're in a dual core or dual channel system like Intel, go with the 16 gig sticks, or maybe even the 32 gig. Less or more is more. You want more memory? Be careful on how high you go on megahertz to break the budget. Spending $2,000 on 32 gig kit just seems not that great to me. So make sure, be realistic about it. Also, check out the links, because I know I put up my favorite kit. I think that's the kit I have behind me here. So if you want to get into some overclocking, that would be the kit to have. Anyways, so we'll be doing more like that soon. I'm trying to think of how we're going to work this. We have some parts coming in this week. It might be, I don't know, Wednesday that we do this. We got to get some liquid nitrogen stuff. How I'm going to integrate this into Newegg Now is going to be a little bit interesting, I think. I feel like we can do a mix and match of water cooling and liquid nitrogen and kind of explain some cool things, maybe some overclocking guides. Still thinking about different things and what we do, but anyway, so let's get back to this. So one of the things that I do, I don't know if you guys have followed me and seen some of the comments. The other day when I was basically, our kid my boy got sick, and I was supposed to try to get everything ready for a stream. So we just basically trying to calm him down, get him all good. And it was funny because I took apart the block. Now what I do is I always go through all my water cooling equipment and clean it first. Because you never know what manufacturers leave behind. It's really not their responsibility. They probably should, but you never know what can pretty much end up there. You'd be surprised what I've found in these things, so you always want to rinse them out. You don't want to just throw them together. Otherwise, you're going to run into worlds of issues. I don't wish I had a picture, but I've had issues where we have hair in there. Somehow, magically, the beard hair just ends up into the water cooling loop, and the pressure goes to crap. So that comes to another thing. Look for some type of pressure or some type of understanding. I can't think of the name right now, but any type of I like the digital ones where you can actually see if there's flow, like a flow meter. I highly recommend using flow meters, because you can obviously tell if there's something clogging up something just by the flow. So, very good thing to do is always put some type of flow meter in your water cooling system. I don't have any right now. Obviously, I'm waiting on some stuff, but we're going to obviously have a couple in here. So, it will help you with performance, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, I have a 480 rad, 360 rad, another 360 rad, and my performance sucks. It's just getting too hot. It could also be because you have a clog. I had it with my bench setup over there with two 480s. Basically, I had such a bad clog, I had to tear it down, and it sucks. When you're going through it and you put it all together and you don't clean it out, then you got to keep on doing it, and you got to try to figure and troubleshoot. You're going to save yourself lots and lots and lots of time just by doing it right the first time. If you're going to do it right, you might as well do it the right way. So I ended up ripping apart the Optimus block, and one of the issues I had is that I could not get the seal back. And I was trying to figure out why, because I've replaced hundreds of seals before, not just in water cooling equipment, but also, like, I don't know, for car stuff. I mean, seals are in everything. You'll use pumps just for, like, even flooding stuff. Like, last week we had a lot of flooding here, power outages. It's been kind of crazy lately. Like yesterday, I went to stream. I was going to try to go for a late night stream last night. But of course the power goes out for like 2-3 hours. I'm like, that's why I killed the stream yesterday. It's just sometimes sometimes when things go to hell, they go to hell, if you know what I'm saying. But anyways. So, I ended up, I kind of thought about it a little bit. And when I was trying to, literally there's a seal, an O-ring that goes around the bottom. It's just basically a plate and it sandwiches in between. Well, I was looking at it, I was like, why am I having so many issues? Because every single time that I try to match them up, if I just even touched the seal just even a tiny bit, it almost seemed to stick to my finger. So, I started thinking about it a little bit more. When I used the CRC, and now CRC spray, this is not just CRC, this is QD electronic cleaner. So I use this for cleaning everything from paste. I clean pretty much everything with this. I clean motherboards off when they're dirty. I use this a lot. Now, I didn't realize what this stuff does to seals. This stuff is pretty much dry. This is not good for seals. So what I found out is that this was actually my problem. It's not my big ass hands, it's basically this. So what I did to basically get the seal to stick just a little bit, there's a couple dudes that basically went in and commented, they're like, use Vaseline. And I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea. I basically ended up using a little bit of Vaseline. What I did is I just put a little bit on, coated it, and then I took a paper towel and kind of wiped it off, as long as it got some oil residue in there. And then I had to try to put a little bit of Vas in there, just where it was. It was just a pain in the butt. So basically, I ended up getting it, and then I had to take it apart several times because the Vaseline ended up getting, it's all clear, so I wanted to make sure it looks good. It has to look pretty, if you know what I'm saying. So I basically had to wipe it off and do it a couple times, but I eventually got it, and then I was like, man, that was difficult for the O-ring. So, but anyway, so if you run into the issue when you're taking apart your stuff and you're having problems with O-ring issues, take a little bit of Vaseline. You don't have to have a lot. Basically, just coat the whole one. I basically just went like this and pulled it through. Basically, put a little bit of Vaseline and then wiped off all the excess. And then put just like with a toothpick and put in a little bit in the grooves where it's hard to stay in. These aren't molded ones. Remember, this is kind of more of a... These aren't even available yet. So this is more of an engineering sample. So it's a little bit harder than if something that was production sample. Brian, $2. Thanks for my $2, broski. Does tube size make a big difference? I don't know. To be honest, I usually use the bigger the size, the better, right? So the more, if you think about it this way, if you have a river, if you have a small river, which one's moving more water? The big river or the small river? Obviously the big river, because it's moving more water, there's more water. So my theory is basically, I like the thicker the better. So, but it's a great question. It's actually way more involved in that. So you have tubes that are like this. This came with basically the EK RGB water cooling kit. These are awesome because if you're new to water cooling, this has everything you need to do it. One of the biggest issues with water cooling is always forgetting some parts or waiting for parts. So if you buy one of those, you basically get everything in there. Now, this comes with this tubing. So this is soft tubing. This isn't hard tubing. Obviously, the difference between hard tubing and soft tubing is one's soft, the other one's hard. But when you're looking at tubing, you want to make, you basically want to keep track of, because this will give you a bad day. Because I've ordered parts a lot of times, and I've ordered the wrong versions by mistake several times. You have what's called an ID and an OD, or OD. Inner diameter and outer diameter. The thinner diameter that you have in here, between the two, the more the tube is going to be able to crimp. the thicker the tube is, the less it's gonna crimp. Now I've had it where if you have a crappy tube, you won't be able to do, say you have one like this and you wanna move the tube around like this. If you have a thin tube, this is gonna basically cause flow restrictions, and we don't want flow restrictions. So, in my opinion, if you're just starting out, go with soft tube, go with a thicker diameter. Like I said, in one of the water cooling kits, basically gets you in there. Ooh, Powerade cooled PC, good idea. I'm gonna have to use that. But yeah, buy a water cooling kit to get you started. You don't have to put everything in it. It gives you all the pieces that you basically need to be able to do something, instead of trying to order all the pieces yourself. I notoriously always end up missing something, so it's kind of nice to have some of the water cooling kits. I end up buying them myself for builds I do for friends and stuff like that, instead of me going and ordering each individual pieces, because you never know what's on back order. You'd be surprised what happens. So, so there's way more to this. So this is soft tubing. This is kind of, if you're new to water cooling, I highly recommend it. It's not that hard. It's one of the easier methods compared to others. We have ones that are like hard tubing, so it's tubing just like this, but it's just straight, right? I think some tubing companies offer some like already pre-bent ones, but a lot of the times you just have to cut the pipe and it's just straight pieces, or you can basically use a heat gun and you can manipulate the hard tubing and make it look like different shapes, stuff like that. As we go on and do more streams and I get up more ideas, we'll probably do some just so that way, well, I don't know, we'll try to burn the beard or something. We'll do a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, one of the things about soft tubing that you want to worry about, like I said with these are great because it has it's thick. When you get thinner, that's when you start having issues, and you'll see a lot of old builds and stuff, they had like coils on here that would help for kinks. I forget what they used to call them. But basically, I like my tubes thick. But yeah, so you used to be able to put these things on that would go over it, so they're I don't know, basically to not kink. It's kind of weird, but yeah. So when you're wanting to look at something, I would suggest if you're starting out, just use this, get started, learn about basically filling up pumps and pretty much how you're gonna do everything first. This is a good way to start out, and for your first one, try this, and then maybe on your second one, go to the hard stuff. Now, what's the interesting part is so, okay, we're gonna go with soft tubing. What do we gotta do? So, again, with the water cooling kit, it has it all there for you, so you'd have to do less thinking about. But like these ones come, for instance, this is a 10mm inner diameter and 16mm outer diameter. So this is actually a 6mm thick tube, right? Well, these, if you're gonna have a certain amount of tube, you need to make sure your fittings match your tube. Otherwise, you're gonna be in a world of hurt with stuff just popping off, leaking, doing a bunch of bad things. So make sure you always match up your tubing with your fittings. And now, say you want to go from soft tubing to hard tubing, you're gonna need all new fittings, depending on the fittings, obviously. Oh, Eric, good question. Thoughts on quick disconnects? I use quick disconnects all the time. One of my things is I actually want to test this. I feel like certain quick disconnects might not be as good as others because they will restrict flow. One of my issues is, I haven't tested this, this is just my thought process behind it, is when you introduce more of those, you're going to reduce your flow. And to what effect, I'm not sure. As we build this channel and do more and get into this nerdy stuff, that's probably something that I want to explore, and just because I feel like it's something that is misunderstood or not really understood. So, like, how does it affect if you add like 4 or 5 disconnects, stuff like that? Oh, what is the kit called? Well, look in the description below and find the EK water cooling kit. I think it's in there. It might be in there. I think there's a Thermaltake one and an EK one. So check those out. Check out a bunch of brands. There's a bunch of good brands out there. Don't limit to those. Make sure you check out Newegg, though. Anything you shop under there helps out. Captain Planet, such a slacker. Thanks for the 150, brother. What was the other question? I missed that one. I didn't want to miss out on you, brother. Thanks for the $5. Response to your PCI problem. You could use 16 PCIe to a 4x U2 card and use U2 to 4 PCI export to get at least 4 by... That's actually a great idea, actually. FJ5, I appreciate the response, and that's something I'm going to check into. I was also thinking about using M2 to get a figure. So, brings up a really good point. So, these Elgatos, right? So, at first when I saw that on the ASRock board about the 1X, I actually thought it was a 4X just by looking at it quickly. And these require 4X, so 4 times 4 equals 16. If we could probably fit 4 of these. The whole point is to be able to have streams with like 4 different cameras, or at least 3 cameras. So that's one of my issues now because I have issues with that. But anyway, so I think actually this is a great question. What is? Says this reminds me I gotta top up my RAS. Was too lazy. Half is, oh, okay. The difference between millimeter and standard, you're going to run into these issues where certain companies are going to use millimeter versus like standard versus inches and like, I highly recommend if you're going to buy tubing that matches specifically. Don't mix and match. You couldn't run into issues where you spurt leaks. Remember, a lot of liquid can kill PCs. It can also overheat. A lot of the times they have protections to go against that, so... But, yeah, you're going to want to try to make sure that you match it up. Now, the other thing is like... We can use the acrylic tubing, too. Actually, let me show you some acrylic tubing, because I have a bunch of it. I have some from Thermaltake, and I have some from, I want to say, who else? Deep Cool? Let's see. Alright, so basically, I'm going to grab 2 different brands just to kind of go over different tubing and stuff like that. You basically have Thermaltake PETG. Comes in a tube like this. You gotta be careful for it melting. That's one of the things. Remember, you're going to take something. You can either run them straight all the time, or you can bend them and do all certain curves. But if you notice right here, it basically is telling you 60 millimeter. And it's telling you all the different details about it. So you want to make sure this matches up to the fittings. You're not going to want to use like Thermaltake fittings with something like this, because it might not necessarily match up. Oh, so this is Alpha Cool. And these are like thin, really small, thin tubes. It's kind of cool actually how small they are. Like I said, I usually recommend thicker. Yeah, the quick disconnects, benchmarking would be great content. I totally agree. So if you guys are new here, make sure you like and subscribe. Liking is like the least thing you can do. So if you're not going to buy anything from the links and you just want to make sure you see streams, you can just like or dislike whatever you're into. It helps support the channel. It helps get the stream out there. Obviously, Newegg loves it. But yeah, if you want to support the stream more, you can always join Patreon and be in my Discord. We talk in there quite a bit. We go over tech stuff. It's kind of like the Nerd Cave. We call it the Slacker Cave. But anyways, yeah, you can go to beardedhardware.com, pick up shirts. I want to put some stickers up there. I've been slacking. The kid's killing me. I'm a little bit behind on orders, so if you have ordered, they are coming. I never miss a shirt. We always get everybody. Trust me, I give out probably more free shirts than anything, but yeah. So it's coming in the mail this week. Obviously, it's a holiday today, so can't send anything out. But if you want to support, there's lots of stuff you can do. You can donate here. The main part is the easiest part. If you're going to buy something, check out the Newegg links. The Newegg links help support the channel. They really do help support for doing more content and doing more stuff with me. So, highly recommend it. We've got some really cool things planned. One of the biggest things that we're going to end up doing a PC giveaway, I think. This is going to be in combination with Newegg. So what we'll do is I think we're going to end up building some really cool stuff, and one of you guys, lucky people, are going to actually be able to win it. So that's some cool, exciting stuff. As soon as I get like somewhat of an editing machine done, we're going to start doing a lot of new combination of vlog stuff. I got some big projects coming. Just waiting for parts, man. Shipping is like one of the worst things right now. It's kind of completely killing me. We're redoing one of the cars I first bought. Was a Dodge Viper, a 2005 yellow Dodge Viper. It's been my pride and joy, but it hasn't been running for 10 years. So we did a motor build, and then I blew up one. Of course, we do the same stuff like we do in PC. I would do it with the car. So what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna end up doing some, I don't know, we're gonna put it back together and we're gonna put some cool content up. We got some electric skateboard stuff, lots of drone video, even boat video. So one of my other plans is to do some good boating stuff. I live pretty much here in Paradise, and when I'm not in the Slacker Cave, I need to get out, man. I need to be on the water. The Viking needs to be on a ship. So we got a lot of stuff coming. It's gonna be a crazy last 2020 if 2020 wasn't crazy enough already. But yes, ooh, a self-water cooling bodysuit. They actually have those. If you ever watch like Bering Sea Gold, they actually heat their body temperature. It's pretty dope. If you want to stream with 4 cameras, have a look at the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro. It's a much better solution for most cases. The one thing, Chris, that I don't like about the other cameras is that they don't give me a 4K signal. So a lot of the times, that's what I like these, and not all the capture cards are actually, how do you say this, equal. I've seen where, like, one of my favorite things about these the Elgato 4K, I already have like 3 or 4 of these now. My favorite thing about these is the BIOS interaction. So when I show you guys overclocking streams or overclocking guides, and I have to read the BIOS and show that to you so you guys can see what's going on, these are pretty much legit for that. They're pretty much perfect. A lot of other capture cards fail to get the signal, kind of do a lot of stuff that's just, not great. Some car stuff like Jay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll take, if Jay really is a good race car driver, maybe when the Viper's done, we'll take the Viper and take on Jay. See who has the bigger balls there, huh? That would be interesting. Jay, if you're watching, some Dodge versus Chevy magic there. So yeah, so enough about that. Let's get back into the water cooling stuff. I went on a tangent. We got a bunch of cool stuff. If you guys like drones, make sure you like in the comment. If you want to see drone footage too, man, I do a lot of stuff with electronics too. Building, I don't know if you guys have seen Gamers Nexus and Steve and his bikes and Kingpin with his bikes. We're building one right now too, so that's something I want to incorporate probably into a vlog to basically kill on the time, but we'll see what's going on. Oh, so if you guys are new to the stream and you're checking out this ultimate build right here, this case, you can't actually get it anymore. It's kind of sad. I was kind of bummed that when I actually was looking up the name. It's called the Dopamine case. It's made by V1 Tech. V1 Tech makes all like backplates and stuff that you can actually customize yourself. They're really cool. We actually have one coming for my buddy's build that should be here for one of the streams later in the week. So I don't want to give out too much info on it, but it looks pretty damn cool. It's all custom made by me. Basically what you do is you go to v1tech.com. You basically go in through your the little I don't know what you want to call that, their tool. You can put a custom images there, and then you can make it RGB, which I really don't like, but what it allows you, a lot of the times, if I had my own RGB type of setup, like where it's minimalistic, basically that's kind of where it's at. And I really think it's going to be really cool. We're going to show you it right here, so I don't know. If you get a chance, go check it out. They're pretty badass. Good company. Oh, man. So we're running about 3:34 right now. We started a little bit late, so it's about an hour in. We got about an hour to go. So, you interested in rock climbing or bouldering? Look me up. Well, I used to, but I don't know. I've injured myself so many times when I was younger. I mean, I'm pretty much bionic as it is now. I have like a plate right here, 7 screws. That's what happens when you crash electric skateboard at like 33 miles an hour. It's always fun stuff. So if you haven't realized that I'm a complete adrenaline junkie, it's kind of how I got into computers in the first place. Watercooling them, putting liquid nitrogen on them, and just souping stuff up. I'm even souping up my golf cart. Now that's part of content. If you guys like that, make sure you comment it. That's what we want to try to get on this channel. We want to do some boating stuff too. Just do some cool and fun things. Just do fun, epic stuff, if you know what I'm saying. So, if you guys want to see that and are totally cool with it, make sure you like and subscribe. I don't want to have to keep telling you to like and subscribe, but I'm going to keep on telling you to like and subscribe. Okay, I think I'm done there. And make sure you check out the links from Newegg, because Newegg is making these streams go, or make them happen, or something like that. Alright. Rock and roll! When will we see some GPU reviews? Well, to be honest, I've been kind of bummed lately on the tech industry. I feel like the tech industry has kind of been weak lately. With the new NVIDIA release, it really lights a fire underneath my buttocks. Basically, just, I don't know, I feel excited to bench GPU again. So, as a little special thing this week, I'm not going to tell you when, but in anticipation for the 390 KP, I think we're going to have to bench some stuff. I want to see if I can get a Founders Edition too, so we're going to bench this week. I need to do some setup of operating system. I'm going to put it over on the bench setup. And we're going to put this under liquid nitrogen. Maybe go for a particular bench. I haven't decided on one yet. I don't know. Just do something just to get the juices flowing. So that way we can basically do, I don't know, just push it. I need to hear that liquid nitrogen sound. I have a full tank of liquid nitrogen just wasting away in my garage right now, which I don't like. So that's the plans. Let's see. So what we should go through. I think what I'm gonna do is just take apart stuff. So like I said before, is usually if I'm gonna do anything water cooling, take it apart, because in one time or another, if you're gonna do water cooling, you're gonna have to take it apart. So you might as well do it when it's all freshly put together. And if you're scared to do it, I highly recommend take your phone, set it up as a camera, and basically go through it. Sure, does the King Slacker have a link to his playlist? Well, this is Epidemic Sound. I go into the metal genre. I'm so limited on what music I can do without getting demonetized, which drives me nuts. But still, Epidemic Sound's has this, which is actually pretty good. I actually really like it. So check them out. Yeah, just check them out. Oh, look, 3/8 pins on that KP. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody's asked me about that. So, what I thought about the power connector. Personally, I think it's absolutely useless. I really don't see a need for a new power connector. I really think that it's just going to be more of a pain, more problematic, because now I'm going to have to find a PSU or some type of an adapter, and I don't like adapters. So PSU companies or power supply companies are going to have some weird issues with it. I don't know, I'm just not sure how I feel about it. I feel like the regular PCIe connector with the 12 volt has been fine. I know Vince and I have personally pushed these graphic cards a lot more than their standard and not had the issues. So I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind that, but hey, it is what it is. They pretty much, NVIDIA rules on what they were going to do, and to be honest, they have the best graphic card, at least with the most performance, so there's not much you can argue with them on that. It's one of the things I don't like about NVIDIA, but hey, what are you gonna do? Alright, so Paul, the beardy one, down it. What's up, broski? How's the beard doing? Ooh, this is still all sounding exciting, broski. Look forward to all the content. Me too, because guess what? This is gonna be a full-time job for me at one point, and I actually love doing it, and I'm tired of my old job, so make sure you like and subscribe so that way we can do this all the time and that I don't have to do anything else, because, I don't know, even when I'm doing other things, I'm thinking about doing this for you. So this is what I want to do, so make sure you support the dream, because if you support the dream, I'll be doing this, you'll see me all the time. So, alright. Says, reminds me, I need a sleeved cable for my 3090 KP. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So that brings us into the point where all the sleevers, so if you're new to overclocking and just PC modding in general, a lot of the times people love to redo their cabling. So what they do is they sleeve their cable. So they'll actually take out each individual cable and sleeve them individually. The problem is that I'm finding is that a lot of the sleever companies, they use, because they'll basically buy a bunch of connectors. The PCIe connectors to get right now. The other one, they don't really know which one to use, so it's kind of creating some problems from the sleeving aspect. So It might be a little bit hard where we end up, you're going to have to harvest a couple, so if you find adapters where you're going to have to take them apart, so it's one of those interesting things. I'm not sure where we're going to go on that. I think it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be something interesting in the future, so I guess stay tuned, and I guess we'll see when we start seeing the cards. MR Tag, Joe, thoughts on KP's paste for long-term use in a custom loop? I use it in all my machines. I highly recommend it. It is considered my favorite paste right now. One of the things that brings up another question too is what happened to the paste video? One of the issues is that hard drive, NVMe drive, really killed that for me. I actually had a bunch of footage on there we were about to release, and boom, gone. So, which kind of really sucks. Some interesting stuff in there. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to actually change the paste stuff around. I'm actually going to do like one-on-one. So I'm thinking this will be easier to video. It keeps the videos shorter, and it doesn't just, I don't know, it just makes it so that way it's more content, easier to come to you guys. So what I'm going to be doing is actually I'm going to be releasing a couple videos. I'm going to try to get them sometime next week. It's just, need an editing machine. But anyway, so what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to do like a one-on-one type. So like KP versus the world. Because right now I truly believe the KP paste is the best paste that you have. So if you want overall overclocking improvement, you want the best temperatures possible on water cooling. We're not talking about liquid nitrogen stuff here. We're talking about air cooling. We're talking about water cooling. We're talking about even a little bit sub-zero if you're using like chillers, stuff like that. The KP paste is the stuff to buy. I highly recommend it. I know some people are going to probably gripe with me, but I don't want to say too much. Just buy the paste. Let's just say a video is going to come and basically tell you why. So I don't want to release too much info, but I'm going to provide benchmarks and what is going on with it, and I don't know. I've already laid out too much information, so. But yeah, so that's definitely going to be coming soon. And I have like 35 different pastes that we can compare. So I feel like each video will build upon each other video. So I think that's going to be a good way to release content to you guys. So that way you guys can get a bunch of good information. Because to be honest, I'll just say it right now. Paste is one of the most important things in your computer. If you buy a GPU, you need to replace the paste. And use KP. It's going to be better. The Gamers Nexus tested it yet. They can test it every which way they want. Actually, Joe, you need to pick overclocking contest. Oh, okay, so that brings up to another point. A little birdie told me that we might be doing something on Gamers Nexus channel soon, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So, make sure you pay attention to my Twitter. Follow me. I'm very active on Twitter compared to all the other social media sites. I do a little bit on Facebook now, not much. So if you're trying to add me there, I don't really add people. So Instagram, follow me on there because we'll probably do something in the future. Twitter is really where I'm pretty much at most of the time. I just like the way it works. So if you want to follow me, I'm always putting up good PC deals. Speaking of the one, if you noticed, it was kind of funny. I put up on Twitter this week of a power supply, a 1,000-watt platinum power supply. And people are like, who the hell is that? The funny part is that most manufacturers, most power supplies that you've been buying right now are pretty much of only a couple different brands. Basically, there's only a couple OEM manufacturers that make them, and they just rebrand them. So that one, the Superflower one, which is actually in the link below, is a really, really, really good one. So it's basically what EVGA was using before EVGA made, or how can I reword this? EVGA basically didn't make the power supplies. Superflower did, and EVGA slapped their sticker on it. So it's a good, very cheap power supply, like cheap as in price, not by quality. So check it out. All right, so hype. Yes, hype is all about. Someone going to be live streaming 3090 KP on LN2, dude? Maybe. I don't know, but what we're going to do, the next thing we're going to do is definitely do KP 2080 Ti. We'll have something this week. I need to get my liquid nitrogen on, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know if it's going to be Wednesday or Friday yet, Wednesday is going to be the next stream, 7 o'clock. So I'm going to end up working on the thumbnail after this. I'm going to start getting into that mode. So when I tell you guys I'm going to do a stream, I'm going to do them. It's just been a little bit of rough with the kiddo. So it's just trying to work out the logistics. So, oh, I need a drink. So what are you guys slacking up to on this fine holiday? It's Labor Day. I should be out on the boat, but it's damn hot out. Eminem, do you know what model 3090 PWM controller is? I have no idea about the 3090, so basically can't, I don't know. I can't really tell you too much about 3090. Anything right now is pretty much rumor until you actually see it from someone reputable. There's always a lot of PC rumors going around, so you kind of want to be, I don't know. Don't try to, there's always been too much rumor and hype in the PC industry, so I don't know. As I know more, the more I'll tell you, so. Alright, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to go down. The one thing I didn't take apart was this lovely pump and reservoir, and to be honest, seeing that in the other cases just make me really, really enjoy them. I feel like it's so much nicer than the normal round tube ones. I feel like the round tube ones are played out. So let me go and just show you one. Let's see. Actually, why don't we just go to the EK watering kit. Water cooling kit. Now, like I said before, these are really great for if you don't want to try to piece everything together. Usually what I'll do is I'll buy one of these and then I'll add on to it. So I'll make sure that what I want to use is, and this is for buddies, and so even if you want to do it yourself, it's the way to do it. And what's cool about EK too is they actually include a lot of different things. They go a little bit above and beyond if you're going to build some stuff. Like this one, for instance. Like they have nice packages. I mean, everything is nice and kind of detail oriented here, which I like because it makes it easier that I don't have to try to find everything and work around stuff. So what I was saying before, well, so these are the round pumps that I'm talking about before. So these I feel like are kind of old school thing in PC modding and water cooling and stuff like that. I basically am really down with these thin. Basically, they match up to kind of they match up the same arrangements with fans. You can put them on radiators because a lot of times with rads, like when you have these, it's like where do you put it? Like you have to kind of make a bracket. They always don't fit as well. It can be kind of a pain in the butt, but. They give you brackets though, which is nice. Like this one is basically like a fan adapter. You put it up to the bottom fan, and then you can basically put it on like that, and it holds it. Which looks cool and all, but I feel like it's kind of played out when it comes to everything else. So even in this water cooling kit, they give you all the fans you need. This one is a PE edition. I'd probably want to rather see an SE edition in here versus the PE edition. The performance edition is a little bit thicker. I'd rather do a push-pull type setup there. So what's nice about even EK is they send you something like this. What is this? So when you're putting a water cooling system together, you don't necessarily want to turn it on. What you want to do is basically leave the PC off because just in case you have a leak, you don't want it to flood the system. I mean, it's a little bit different here for this system because it's on the side, but a lot of times it'll be like this way or oriented this way depending on how you're doing it. What they do is they give you a nice plug. So that way, what this is a jumper cable. So if you put this in a PSU, you don't have to attach it to a motherboard. And you can basically just turn the switch on the actual power supply itself, and it will turn on. It will power up. So that way you can run the pumps and the fluid through the system and test for leaks before you actually turn the system on and have to worry about it. So you can test for leaks, have it run for a little while. So this is a nice little feature that they add, which is great. I highly recommend EK water cooling kits. Even Thermaltake makes some good kits. What's nice too is they actually add some clear here. So we usually use some type of distilled water and then we add some additives. So this is just one way you can do it. Like I said, everything comes in this box as a kit. It makes it easy. So you don't have to worry about fumbling for parts. You know everything's going to be in here. This is where the tubing came from too. Oh, before I cut myself with this knife again. put that back here. All right. All right, let's see if I can catch up. Jank is life. You know my buddy Travis too? His name is Travis Jank. It's pretty funny. Want to build with my 3950. Next build. 3950 is a great build. So are the builds that are in the description below. If you need help on what to buy, I have it nice and listed. My wish list basically on Newegg are all public. So you have the 1K build, or the under 1K AMD build. You have the under 1K Intel build. And I'm always going to go through those consistently and try to find something that I recommend to you. Because when it comes down to, I'm more worried about you guys than I am the manufacturers. So, well, Newegg's great too, but with working with Newegg, it actually gives me the power to be able to give you unbiased opinions. Because that's really what it's about. I'm about giving you what is the real deal. It's not about fluff or not about saying things to try to make you like them. If I like it, I'm going to tell you. If I don't like it, I'm going to tell you too. So always value my opinion, because I'll probably get in trouble for it once in a while, but who knows? Who cares? But anyway. Oh, so basically when I was going through a watering kit, you can just get the EK one. For any water cooling kit, I would actually go through every single component that they give you and clean it. Make sure you clean it. You can use a little bit of dish soap detergent on it. Don't go too crazy, because you're going to end up having to get the soap out. So you want to make sure that you're cleaning it. And then, so I'll usually use like a little bit of a detergent type setup. And then what I'll do, and I'll do this before, so nothing's connected. Take it all apart, clean it up. Make sure you lube all the basically the O-rings and stuff like that. Put it back together. Make sure it's put together properly. You'd be surprised when things come from a manufacturer. Maybe it didn't pass the quality control, so sometimes you'll get it a little bit messed up. So what you want to do is, before you introduce something to your loop, you always want to clean it. Make sure it's pretty. And especially with rads. Rads need to be cleaned no matter what. So how would you clean the rad? Here's a good example of how to clean a rad. So you're going to want to pump in a reservoir. Just take the fitting, basically make sure it's on the outbound side, go into the rad, and then put one into a bucket. Fill up this and just let it run. Just let it run. We have this thing called distilled water. Distilled water is what you need. Basically, distilled water is pure water. So basically it doesn't have any additives added to it. So this is what you want to clean your rads with. So what I'll do is I'll end up just pouring more water in here, have it go through the rad and shoot out into the bucket. And keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And I'll go through maybe like 1 or 2 gallons to make sure that it's clean. Because there's really no other way to go through that rad to guarantee that everything's out of it. So you want to make sure you try to go and get as much of the crap in there. Because you have to understand that a lot of these water cooling components are very small. So like for instance, on this Optimus PC block, when you take it apart, there's so many fins and they're so tiny. So if you have any little type of clog, it's gonna cause some performance. And the only way that you're really gonna know that you're having a performance loss is by using some type of flow indicator. And I highly recommend using a digital one. It seems like a lot of the companies are slow to like introduce ones, which is kind of lame, but I personally would love to see a lot more digital ones, so that way you can actually see a number, not like analog ones. You want to be able to see, I know if my loop has something in it. So, pure green water. So, let's get into a little bit more. So once you do all your flushing, because you always flush the rads, clean all the stuff, flush the rads, and then what are you going to use for fluid? So you could use distilled water. That doesn't mean that nothing's going to grow in there, so you want to usually add some type of additive. Or you can basically use some type of brand of cooling, right? I probably should have put something in the leak, but you'd be surprised. That's what I'm worried about. Jay had it clean his system when it was green. His blue clogged his system up. Not sure if it's quality control issue or just heavy usage. Well, that brings up another topic, right? So you could either use distilled water, or you could use a fluid that's made for it. So These are like high performance fluids, so Mod Water, I highly recommend. I've been testing the red for probably 7 months now, and I'm pretty stoked with it. I haven't had any issues where it's causing any gumminess or to come into the loop. But this is not always the case with every brand. So like this brand so far, I have known it's worked pretty well. So big shout out to Mod Water, modmymods.com. These guys have done some nice water stuff. I think what we're gonna do, I still haven't figured out what color. I only have a certain amount of this, but I think we're gonna have to do some cool colors in here. Maybe go green or keep up with the NVIDIA feel, or maybe, I don't know, if Big Navi really does come out to be a banging card, maybe we'll turn on the red, you know? But anyways, oh man. So yeah, these fluids right here are always good to use, and you don't end up having to mix your own. You can also dilute these, so one of the things that you can do is basically mix distilled water with these. Just be careful on what you're mixing though, like other stuff, other chemical reactions might cause something to tubing, so you want to make sure that the stuff that you're putting is not going to mess up your tubing. I have seen where if you put like maybe a water wetter, I use a lot of that stuff for like in cars and stuff, they might not mix with the acrylic tubing, so that might cause some issues. You want to just think, you want to be smart about it. You don't want to introduce anything into the loop that you don't want to. Yeah, it does look like oil and butter. That's why I kind of like it. It kind of gives me the car feel. And I'm really from like the car world. I had a lot of friends in the car world, professional race car drivers and all sorts of stuff. So I don't know, it just kind of makes me feel at home. So check this stuff out. Be careful on a lot of them though. Really do some reviews. I've heard so many bad things about fluids that I don't know, I've been really reserved on a bunch. So make sure you do like your due diligence and basically go through and try to find maybe something that might work for you. But remember, if you listen to what I said and basically cleaned up all your loop, you'll know how to do it when it clogs up anyway. So major thing, flow indicator, make sure you're doing flow. If you have a clog, if you're noticing really bad performance issues, make sure you get rid of it too. I always use radiator cleaner and a power flusher to clean them out. Distilled water simply isn't adequate to properly clean a radiator. That's probably a good point. There probably is some better ones. I think that's probably going to be some good, maybe some good content for the future. What would you really use? So maybe we'll go through and kind of test out some of the, test out some of the theories, because there's a lot of stuff out there. I want to say there's a lot of good information, but there's also a lot of very bad information. So we kind of want to make sure, maybe we'll go and check out a couple. It's a great idea for video ideas. So we got the paste, we got water, the quick disconnects if that causes a problem. Now these are all great ideas too, guys, so I appreciate it. If you guys got more ideas and you want me to do something that you think is absolutely awesome that you just really want to see, make sure you put it in the comment section. I lurk in the comment section. I see what you write. If you're being not being cool to our other fellow nerds, I'll see that and you will get kicked off this channel. Don't think I'm afraid of kicking people, because I will kick people. So always have respect for everybody on the channel. If you don't have respect for anybody on the channel, you don't have respect for me. So, well, that can go anyway, but anyway, so yep, I like to use clear fluids actually when well, that brings up a point too. When I'm cleaning out, I want to use some type of clear fluid. There is some additives that you can add to also clean. I know there's a bunch of if you just even search on Newegg for cleaners, there's a bunch of stuff that you can add. Whether they work or not, I've been able to not use them, so I guess it's going to depend on really what's in your ad versus, say, something like mine. I really flush them out pretty damn good that there's not much of an issue. And if you literally run it through and you start seeing stuff in there, which brings up another thing, is always set up some type of way that you're going to be able to get the fluid out. I see a lot of water-cooled systems where they plan out for all the water cooling, but they don't really plan out on how to get the fluid in or how they get the fluid out if you need to change it. So one of those things is you need to plan properly for your runs. So what I mean by runs is you want to make sure that you go into the block. You want to make sure where the in is, you want to, where the fluid goes into the right way on the block, right? And then it comes out the right way. Well, on here you want to do that too, but you also want to plan your routes so that way if you need to change fluid, because, I don't know, I'm the type of guy that basically, we change it so much that it's going to be one way 1 minute and then one way another minute. So you basically got to go and, I don't know, just plan your routes properly and then you won't have an issue. So let's get down to cleaning and doing something other than me talking, because I can talk all day, whether you like it or not. It's pretty awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off this piece. Now, I only drilled 2 holes at the top. The bottom's not in. I was just kind of trying to see where I want the look and feel. And then, to be honest, I feel like that's just like, it's like it was meant to be there. Like it was just like, I'm going to think it's there. So what we got to do though is I'm going to take this apart and clean this puppy. Like I said, I clean everything. If you don't do it, you're going to pay for it later. It's just what happens, man. Every single time that I've not cleaned it, I've always had to go back and do extra work. So this is more of you just have to do it. If you don't, it's just going to lead you into a bad time. So luckily I only put this on, I just mocked it up. I do this with everything. I mock it up, see if I really like it there. Plan out all your runs. This one's going to be a hard tubing eventually when I figure out all the components and how everything's going to work. Currently right now, it looks like we're probably going to go back to the Xeon if I can't figure out how I'm going to get all these Elgato cards in there. So, I don't know, this thing could change dramatically from week to week. So we're going to take that part off. I'm going to move this out of the way. Without those side braces on there, it's very, very flimsy. So I'm just going to put it off there because otherwise I don't want to knock it off the table. That would be bad. So the case is the dopamine case from V1 Tech. You guys love this case. Unfortunately, they don't make them anymore. So you're going to have to find one on the used aftermarket. I'll have to find out if he plans on making them, any more of them, because really, it's an awesome open case, and I highly would recommend it. I was really sad when he told me that they didn't have them on the site anymore. I was like, oh, that kind of ruined the whole point. But anyways, hi. Ooh, Chang. Sometimes plexiglass blocks might crack if you over torque it. And that brings us to the thing. If you're going to mess with this stuff, I want to get down to the point. Well, just made me feel really small right there. Basically, if you're going to start messing with some of this stuff, be very, very careful with it. You don't need to be like a strong arm or strong man and basically over torque this stuff. This stuff does not have to be absolutely like tremendously torqued. But I do want it to be clean. So that's one of the things that I'm going to do right now is we're going to end up cleaning this block. So the first thing we want to do is take it apart. So you'll see right here that what's cool about this is that this reservoir and pump setup, you can get this actually in just the reservoir. But I feel like if you're going to go through it, you might as well get the pump. It's just so streamlined that it just looks awesome that you should do it. You know what I'm saying? Is there a good configurator when planning a loop? Should I just max my case with the thickest radish? No. So, this is something that I usually basically do. If you're going to go with a thick rad, you're going to have a push-pull setup. I don't recommend a really thick rad with just 3 fans. Like say we take a 360 for instance. Use a thinner rad because otherwise you're going to need twice the amount of fans to cool it. And to be honest, you'll actually see less performance than if you were to do a thin rad with only 3 fans. It's quite crazy, but it's true. So you want to make sure. P.S. That table is amazeballs. Actually, so I don't know if you guys noticed that I changed the whole studio. basically, this monitor used to be all over here, and then everything is basically. I love this table so much. Like, my other tables are hand cranks, so when you want to raise them and lower them, I'm standing sometimes throughout the day. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know, indecisive. I'll raise the table, lower the table. Having this electrical motor on it is just so badass that I've made it to my full-time workstation, so it's definitely cool. Says, has anyone ever tried to use a CPU cooler on the backside of the motherboard? Also, might work okay. Well, if you don't put anything on the front side, putting it on the back side is not going to do anything. Now, to be honest, you could probably put some type of plate, but it's definitely not going to do any more better than if you have the cooler on the right side of the right area. So, but anyway, so what we're going to do is we're just going to start taking stuff apart. What I love about EK is they actually include the tools. It's kind of nice that it's plastic too, because hopefully it limits your torquing ability, if you know what I'm saying. Because if you over torque, you can crack the plexi, which is a really bad day. These are relatively expensive for these. Yes, generally more rads is better than thicker rads. That is true. I was actually really surprised about this, because I had a friend one time basically go and he's like, yeah, I have 3 fans and I have Watercooling and my temperatures seem to still suck. And I started looking at him and I noticed he had just had 3 fans with a really thick Thermaltake one. And it doesn't matter if it's EK or thermal, those thick rads, you have a lot of mass and you're trying to force the air through. A lot of these fans are made to be quiet. They're not really made to push as much air as they can. The whole goal is to push air and make it quiet. So you actually have to force more air through a thicker rad to actually try to get the same amount of performance. So by just using a pull setup with the thinner rad, you'll get it will work really well. So thicker rads might run into a problem where you have 2 of them meet at the corner. Well, the other thing is the amount of space that a thicker rad takes up in a case. Space is usually a valuable commodity. You can tell by, like, in this case is huge. Like, it's big like me, but that's cool because I'm gonna just load it up with a bunch of stuff. It's gonna be like a massive one, the best editing cooling PC that there is. That's basically the goal. I think we're gonna end up switching it back to the Xeon. I know my AMD friends are gonna be like, oh, what is it? What are you doing? But it's hard to argue with 7 PCIe slots. It's really hard to argue with that. And I think the amount of modding that I'll do to just get in there, it's not going to take too much. I'm going to have to cut up, and I'll do that on the new box, but this will be the temporary ultimate editing machine. Says, it helps when someone buys static pressure fans when running a thick run. Static pressure fans. I'm not really that big of a fan. You need some... They don't push enough air for me. The problem is when you really start getting into, like, the fans that really push the air, they really do, they kick up the noise level, and the noise level gets a little bit ridiculous. Back in the OC days, maybe like 2008, 2009, we used to use Delta fans, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Delta fans, but they make like some 10,000 like RPM fans. Like, I'm telling you, like when you turn these things on, it sounds like an airplane's going to like take off. Like I'm telling you, it's almost like you do not want to stick your finger next. Are you overclocking everything? I overclock everything. That's pretty much the. If you want basically the gist of my channel is that I basically overclock everything. It's pretty much how I should just use that as my normal line. Overclock everything. Are we slacking in here? I'm always slacking. Bear with me. I'm a little tired from this weekend. Kids are great. It's amazing too with kids because this is actually, I don't know, you guys probably won't believe, but this is my 5th kid. So, my first boy, I have 4 daughters, but it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's one of those things in life that, like, you get beat up and you really don't care, and that it's one of those things where, like, you just get so tired and beat up, and if you're asked if you'd do it again tomorrow, you totally wouldn't, without a hesitation or failure. That's what parenting's about. Takes a lot of patience sometimes, too. Trust me, lots of patience. Delta fans is a no. You gotta be careful, man. Like, seriously, those fans, literally, we used to call them finger choppers. Because if you were to stick your finger in that fan, it would literally take the finger off. It's crazy. I'm gonna have to, like, I'm gonna see if I can find some of the old ones. Because nobody talks about them. It's kind of funny. They're pretty, time for another Red Bull is pretty much an understatement. But it's cool, though. Like, I literally had this Delta fan. I think it was like a 10,000 RPM fan. And it blew out all the... It actually blew... On the motherboard, you'll have different... you have the little Molex connectors. Well, it actually blew out the connector. It was so damn hot. It was kind of crazy. Exactly. You'll need 6 of them to do the job of 3 static pressures at a higher RPM. Very good point. Now, here's the thing. So, you might be worried, be like, I need all these different types of parts. I need it to do this way. What I highly recommend if you're building water cooling, what the funnest part about water cooling is that if you don't like something, you can replace one part of it. You get to customize it and make it your own. And pretty much that's what I'm about. Every single thing that I buy, and it's not just like, it's everything I do. My boards, my computers, that's how I got into this, is basically, I soup up everything. I basically have to mod everything. It's just, it's in my nature. It's fun. It's almost like, this is like the Legos for adults. It's kind of funny. And roar like a lion, only if needed. Where's Baby Kratos? I need some Delta fans when I got the Time Spy top 100 early last year. People knock those Delta fans, but the amount of air that they push is actually quite extraordinary. Like, when when I say they are literally like a jet taking off, they are. I mean, they're loud. Like, I wouldn't even be able to have one running right now because the audio, it would literally kill the audio. And they're pretty much dangerous too. My luck, I'd probably cut my finger off. Probably on stream. It probably would go viral. It'd probably be actually amazing, but we're not going to take that chance. I need my fingers, my boy. I got to take care of my boy and everything. But yeah, so here we go. We're taking apart stuff. Now, one of the things is you got to be careful what you take apart too, because we have these warranty stickers. You see that? You might void the warranty, but the thing is if you're taking it apart properly and you're putting it back together, you don't have to worry too much about the warranty. As long as you do it right. That's the whole key, right? Alright, so we're just keep on taking it apart. I swear, I spent so much time just trying to put that Optimus block back together. I was so frustrated. Whenever you're trying to do a lot of things in a certain amount of time, you always get a bunch of anxiety and stuff towards it. Alright. So we got about 15 minutes late. I know we didn't go too much into the build. We did a lot of talking. But this is we're gonna have a constant bunch of these streams, so this is not gonna be the only one. We're gonna be doing one on Wednesday. So remember, put in your scheduled 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, I'm in Florida. I'm in the Sunshine State. Ooh, that's actually a good point right there. Have you ever thought of grabbing a granite surface plate for your lapping? I have thought about it. I need to find one. Need to do it. Because that would help with lapping. Because I lap all my chips. It's just, even with this one, you'll see with that Xeon, that $3,000 Xeon that I'll have in back of me, that thing will definitely be lapped. I'm going to sand the crap out of it. That breaks the warranty, though, and if you're not into breaking warranties, that's just how you are. But I'm the king. I'm the tech god of breaking warranties. That's right, as the poet says, it's not truly yours unless you void the warranty. And to be honest, I do it too many times. Just think of the merch sales and t-shirts. Viking missing a finger. I don't know. I think that's a good idea, Willie V. I think we might just have to do that. I think that's a great idea. Hell yeah, East Coast for the win. Well, I like to joke around with people. I have friends from California where they go West Side. Well, technically, we're the true West Side. West Side of Florida. We're the first West Side. It's so funny. When I tell my friends from California, they love to hate me for that one. Oh, man. So what are you guys doing on this fine holiday? You see what I'm doing. Still no sleep, but who needs sleep, right? I'm missing my left ring finger, so it looks like... What does it look like? Alright. I'm gonna make sure we keep all these screws together. One of the tips, when you're taking stuff apart, you always want to kind of keep what screws are, like, near each other. You kind of want to, like... I don't know, keep yourself, just pay attention to what you're doing. Like I said, if you want to set up your phone and video what you're doing, you'd be surprised on what you can do and how helpful it is. Every time that I do like a big project and I gotta take apart something and put it back, what I'll do is I'll end up videoing it. And what it does is it helps to make sure that I put the right bolt in the right area. You'd be surprised where just stupid mistakes like that can give you a really, really bad day. Watching a Viking. I love it, the poets. Watching you this holiday. Well, I know you guys are watching me, but what else are you guys doing? You guys spending time with family? You guys doing anything good? Working on that music, I promise you, should have some tracks for you in a few weeks. Sure, send them on over. I'm always down to check out new music. There we go. See, what's nice is why I like to take apart stuff too is I like to show you guys things. And I like to learn at the same time. Just because I do it a lot doesn't mean I know everything, right? Which, I kind of do know everything, but... But anyway, you want to kind of keep it organized. Here's a nice pump. See? Oh, look at that. See, we already found a problem. And if we didn't take apart, we wouldn't have known. It looks like there's a piece of tape in there. So now that little thing right there could actually cause some problems. So, see? The trick is to clean your stuff. Now, you just want to be careful, especially for O-rings. I can't believe that's in there. See, this pays for itself by just doing it. And you know what the funny part is the only way that you'll know that you'll find something like this is if you take it apart. Unfortunately, that's how it is, but... Let's see, we got a nice O-ring here. And it looks pretty good, though. Like, I'm actually impressed with these. I am a big fan about these. Even Thermaltake's making them now. What's cool is Thermaltake's actually making a case just as... making one big case like this. At CES, they did a bunch. I lost all that footage, but hey, what are you going to do? Oh, nice. Barbecuing and steaks. That sounds like awesome. Watching my crypto. Never know, go to moon. I love crypto, too. Everybody should be involved in crypto, because it really is the future. The more and more you try to understand crypto, the better you'll be. So if you've never learned about crypto, check it out. I used to love to mine. The problem is, with me mining here, is the power costs are really high here. Just to have any cards, it's just not even beneficial here. So... In a lot of areas across the U.S. and stuff, that is not the case. Like, if you're in upstate New York, you get very cheap power. So it might be different. Why would they have tape in there on the pump? That's a good question. Basically, it's what happens. This is why we go through. Remember what I told you guys in the other stream, right? When you get a graphic card, what is the first thing you do? Come on. I'm going to give you a little bit to go into the comments. What is the first thing you do when you get a graphic card? Actually, there's two things. So we'll get into that, but I want to see what you guys say before I answer. I just want to see that stuff. Yeah, the CES 2020 case that looks like this is amazing. I need one of them so bad. Oh, look at that. That just popped off. What's nice is we got the RGB in here. I like RGB when you can turn it on and off because I like everything simplistic. It needs to look minimalistic, but it needs to look elegant. It needs to look badass. Krypton. Not Krypton, crypto, guys. Come on. You guys are killing me. Yes, Friction 2600, you are the man. Replace the paste. Well, that's actually rule number 2. Rule number one is to just make sure the card works in general. Because I can't tell you how many times that I've literally taken off the card, or basically took the card apart, put it back together, and it doesn't work. And that's because the card was DOA, or dead on arrival. So you always want to make sure. Step one is check to see if the card works. If the card works, number two, take it apart and replace the paste. Just do it. Just do it. That's all you need to do is just do it. But when you do that too, is you also want to, if you don't know what you're doing, read the directions. Thanks, Jest. That one's for you. Open the box, doable. That's pretty funny. Funny guy. Totally funny guy. Friction 2600 gets the win of the day, though. Mountain Monsters has been greenlit for a new season. Awesome. Alright, so let's take this thing apart. I want to make sure this is clean. That actually kind of worries me that there was a piece of tape in there, which is not good. We don't want anything in there. And remember, trust me, better off cleaning it now than doing it later on. Just make sure you pay attention to stuff. We're going to move some of this pump stuff over here so that way it doesn't break anything. Be surprised what happens. And I'm going to do this by hand. Some may ask, what? Oh, rule number 3 or 4 now is basically you need to water block it. Highly recommend. I think the best thing that you could ever do for any graphic card is to water cool it. I feel like the air cooler or the fan coolers that they put on them just do not do any card. Like if you're upgrading your card and you're on a regular normal card, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna just get the new 3090. Why not just water cool your card? To be honest, it will extend the life of your card for a longer period of time. You'll be able to give it a couple extra megahertz. Your card will run way better, way cooler. NVIDIA introduced the newer version of the Turbo Boost a couple years ago. And really it pays attention to temps. So when you reduce the temperature on your card, you're actually going to get more performance out of it. So you want to water cool your graphic card. Just do it. That's what you're supposed to do. Alright, well, we're running out of time here. We're 2 hours scheduled for the stream. We're probably about 7 minutes left. Just want to make sure, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to be doing this a lot more, especially now that Newegg is sponsoring the streams. To help go and make it good for Newegg to keep sponsoring, make sure you check out the links below. If you're going to buy something from Newegg, make sure you use my links, because it helps out just dramatically. We could do a bunch of these. If you're Kyle, you install a water block and put it in your system without fluid, without testing it. No problems with that, right? Really, if you're going to do anything right, I have this... It's kind of almost a double standard sometimes, or double... I don't know, how do you explain this? Basically, I always have this motto: if you're going to do anything right, you might as well... Or if you're ever going to do anything, you might as well do it right. Well, the problem is, sometimes that takes too long. So I'm kind of when it comes, like a perfectionist, I will sometimes extend stuff way more than I probably should have. There's also that saying where we got, if you just get it done, it doesn't have to be perfect. I usually don't work like that, but I've been working on it. That's why it takes me longer to do a lot of different things, because I always want to make sure it's good, you know? I gotta upgrade before I water cool anything. Hey, I'm not discounting you on not upgrading there. Yeah, 1060 is a little low, my brother. I think need to improve on that 1060. But I think as DePoe was talking about it, the increase he saw was pretty dramatic. You'd be surprised on how much you can... to be honest, it's almost like getting a whole new gaming machine when you water cool your graphic card. Because a lot of the times the fans are obnoxiously noisy. The heat that's generated in the performance, I mean, you'll heat up a room in a little time. They're nice in cold regions like up north. Down here, you heat up a room, you got the AC that's fighting it. So you want to make sure that You're doing everything you can. Dreamer77DD, I agree with your thinking. Great minds think alike, my brother. Says MRTech, I think the hottest I've had it run is sub 50 degrees, which is good. I remember seeing guys that were running like some of the older cards, like the 780s and 780 Ti's, and they're telling me, yeah, we're running at 100 C. Yeah, no. You want to make sure. Paste has come a long way since then. Even like 10 years ago, a lot of the records, basically paste makes a huge difference. One of the reasons why a lot of records get broken from a lot of the old architectures is basically because of paste. So people, it's funny how much I see what people see and they go, oh, it's just paste, I just pick up this, yeah, I just use this. That's the biggest flaw I've seen with anybody who says that doesn't really know what they're talking about. Because paste is actually the single most important part of your computer. And it's killing me not to go out and say it. You're going to have to wait for those videos and we'll talk about it then. Alright, so far we're taking apart this reservoir because we take apart everything. We want to be careful that we don't scratch anything. We want to make sure it's clean. So far it looks really, really good. We did find a piece of tape in here, which I do not like. That is concerning. But because we took it apart, we don't really have to worry about it. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you clean it properly. We don't have a warranty anyway, so I don't think that sticker is really going to matter anyway. You could just peel the sticker off. Not that I condone it, but yeah. So what you want to do is you want to clean off everything. You want to oil this O-ring and clean it up and put it back together. So that's pretty much it. You can clean it with a small detergent. I usually like using some type of like Dawn dish soap. A little bit, not too much, because you don't want a residue on it. And then just rinse it with distilled water. Usually pretty good. Ew, MX4. Managers, yeah. Don't recommend MX4. Terrible paste. Just saying. Meanwhile, the 20 I have now has micron memory in the core. Well, that's one thing that actually brings up a point that I see nobody talking about, which is interesting. Is that, did anybody actually catch when Jensen was talking about the type of memory he was using? I don't think anybody noticed that except for the hardcore guys. Because basically, they're saying they're changing the way the memory is going to interface through the PCB to the GPU. Now, for overclocking, that's where my little buzzers go ringing, because what is that going to do for overclocking? What is that going to do? How are we going to get all this performance out of this card? Is it going to be a hindrance for overclocking? Are we not going to be able to overclock memory as much? Lots of stuff. Arctic Silver or Cryonaut? Neither. Kingpin cooling paste. Check the link below and buy yourself and do yourself a favor. If you want, if you have some Cryonaut left over, test them. Tell me what you find. Comment below. What's wrong with MX4? Well, here's the thing. If you want to use an inferior paste, you're more than welcome to just do the job. If you're okay with just doing the job, then get a crappy paste. But if you want to get the proper paste that's going to give you better temperatures, use the Kingpin stuff. It's good. Now, I'm going to be coming out with videos. I originally was going to do this a different way, but I'm going to do one-on-one videos, like Kingpin versus Thermal Grizzly. That'll be the first one. Then we'll add all the different other pastes that everybody else told me that they think is absolutely wonderful that probably haven't tested. And I'm going to show you how much that makes a difference. So, I'm not going to go with any more than that. That's basically what you're going to get. I mean, I wouldn't use... This is the funny thing. Man, I don't even know how you're saying... I'm just going to call you man. But it says, I mean, I wouldn't use it for LN2, but I don't go sub-ambient. Here's the thing. Just because you don't go sub-ambient doesn't mean that paste doesn't work better for you. I'm just going to leave it at that. Because if you test on air and if you test it on water, you would know. Even for ambient cooling, yes. That's one of the biggest myths in overclocking that people say, is that just because I don't use sub-ambient, it doesn't matter. And that's completely untrue. You heard it here first. So what does that mean? go to the description links below, check them out. Hey, just click on the links if you want to, but if you want to buy something, go for it. Yeah, and it really is surprising on ambient. Dude, check for yourself. Check out the paste, put it on there. You'd be surprised. Cryonet is rather runny at the room temps, can have problems with GPU when it's not even mount pressure. There's a lot of issues with it for a different one, but... Well, that's the thing. Here's my thing about, like, well, for the price of the paste compared to everything else that you're putting in your computer, why would you skimp there? That's my biggest theory on there. It's the biggest bang for your buck in a PC to make it run better. Biggest bang for a buck. You can add this particular pump and reservoir costs $250. Paste is going to cost you $15. You're going to get more out of that paste than you are going to get this, if you're using the wrong paste. That's it. That's all I'm going into this anymore. You guys are trying to dig it out of me, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. It says, interesting, I've heard GN say KP was for LN2, but maybe I'm dumb and misheard something. So, I don't know. Steve and I are going to talk about this. We're going to do a bunch of stuff, but here's the thing. That is a myth. It's not only for LN2. The reason why that a lot of people only use it for LN2 is because it's really good on LN2. And it's also, we use a lot of it. So, instead of using it for a small air testing for a little bit and wasting it, because it can be expensive at times. If you go through a lot of it, it takes a lot of money, right? So basically, we basically tend to save it for liquid nitrogen. And that's what we do. It's not necessarily the other one. But you've actually brought up some great questions, and thank you for that. Because that, seriously, you help me out when you do that. So we're running a little bit over time. Remember, like and subscribe. Liking's the least you can do. It helps the channel so much. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. It also helps with Newegg supporting the channel. So, big shout out to Newegg for supporting all these streams. We're only going to get bigger, only going to be better. As I get more comfortable, we're going to be doing lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. I mean, lots of stuff. So, as I get in, I'm going to try to finish as much as I can. You'll see on Wednesday what we're doing. Remember, the next stream is Wednesday, 7 p.m. EST. Sounds like we got some thunderstorms coming. But yeah. So, I don't know. Check out beardedhardware.com if you want some shirts. It's a little on back order right now. I'm catching up on orders because I do them myself. Let me know in the notes. If you want it signed, I'll do signed ones for you guys. I love taking care of the community. I want to try to get some stickers. I just have not had the time. I really need to do it. So I'm going to try to make some time tomorrow to do that. Maybe do some stickers. Maybe I'll make a t-shirt and sticker day. So we'll put some. So make sure you pay attention to beardedhardware.com. Now, the big thing is check out the links. The links are very, very important. Click on the links. If you're not going to buy anything, if you just want to support the channel, you love what I do, click on all the links. Show Newegg that you love me and that you want me to keep doing this, because without you guys, why even do this, right? You guys are excellent. I appreciate it. Much love from me to you. Stay tuned to the next show. We'll probably do a lot more then as I get more parts in when the mailman comes. So, anyways, love you guys. Slacker's going out right now. I'm going to try to get some sleep, hang out with the little kiddo. I love you guys. Slacker out. Check me next time. Remember, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Be there. Check out the Newegg links. If you're buying a machine, we got builds that are laid out for you so you don't have to do the thinking. I do the thinking for you. And I update them all the time, so check them out. Later, Slackers. Love you guys. Be good.